Hello, this is Michael Guest from Persist Development Corporation, and this screencast will show how to add a time trend to average the values from a trend that's we've already created. This one is a custom trend panel for a two-channel EEG, and we have two FFT power ratio trends, 8 to 13 over 1 to 4 hertz, and we want to average these over a period of time. So we'll select 300 seconds or 5 minutes to do that averaging. And to create that modification to these trends, we're going to modify the template. So I select Preferences, Modify Template, and I'm going to pick the file that I want to modify. This is the P13 4-channel MMX that I want to change. I'm going to select Open. And this will open an editing instance that allows me to modify the settings. If I did it in the first instance of the program, it would modify it for that recording, but in this case I want to save these so I can apply these changes or these trends to other recordings as well. And the way I can tell that is when I go to Preferences, I don't see the Modify Template mode here. Now here are the trends that I want to add a time trend for. So to do that, I'm going to click the Add button, and I'm going to select New Trend, and then I'm going to select a time trend. And this will be a power ratio. For 300 seconds is what I'm going to create. This is just the title of the trend. And what I want to do is to then select the trend that I want to create that time average for. And the first one is this FFT power ratio for FP1 to F7. And I'll go ahead and add FP1, F7 to the beginning of this, FP1, F7. Now for the graph, I'm going to go ahead and select an outline instead of a fill. So this will be a line trend, and I'm going to make it blue for left. And I'm going to set the min and max to traditional values for alpha delta ratios. I'm going to set 0 to 2. It's a pretty typical scaling. I'm going to leave the master control on. By leaving this selected, the next trend I create, the time trend I create for the other channel, if I were to change the ratio from 0 to 2 to 0 to 1, let's say, it'll change them both at the same time. So let's go ahead and select OK, and now I have a time trend for 300 seconds for this. Let's create the one for the other side. So I'm going to highlight the gray control bar, right-click on it, and I'm going to duplicate this trend. And this will just give it an initial label. This is the FP2 to F8. So I'm going to select OK. And now I need to change the parameters for this. I have a question mark at the end because I need to set parameters for this. So I'll go ahead and double-click on that gray bar. This one will be for the other side. So let's change that label, FP2 to F8. And the time, I need to select the trend I want to average for this one. And again, FP2 to F8 is here. And I'm going to change that to 300 seconds. Okay. And now I'm going to select red for this color. Let's double check the settings for the previous one. Time, I want to set that to 300. Okay. So we have the title, FP1 F7 power ratio. We have the time set to 300 seconds to average this one. We're graphing this one in blue with an outline, 0 to 2. And let's confirm the settings for the next one. Display is FP2 to F8. That's the title we've typed in. The time trend will be working on FP2 to F8 for 300 seconds, and the 2D graph will be in red. Select OK. Let's see how it looks before we save our changes. We'll click the Process button. And it'll take a moment until there's enough data in the power ratio trends to begin averaging. We can see them begin to average now. To get values from this, let me go ahead and select Pause. This will pause the trending for a bit. If you don't see the values to the right, that's an option. You right-click on the far right end of the trend, and there's an option to show values. If I deselect that, I see the ranges. This is set to 0 to 2. And if I right-click and then select Show Values, then wherever the cursor is positioned, I get a running average for those. And select Process. It'll begin building the average as soon as it has enough data to average, because this is a 5-minute running average that I've created. And so once we've exceeded 5-minute duration into the recording, then that window just slides along with the cursor and averages all those values. Now to save our changes, we'll select Preferences and then Trend Preferences, save, select OK. I'm going to close this editing window. Ask me to confirm if I want to save those changes. I'll say yes. And I'm going to open the modified settings files. I've clicked Trend Preferences, select Template File, and then select OK. When I select Process, we've already begun processing this. You can see the updated trends there. Any questions? Please feel free to contact me. Thank you.